Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to our Tanya class. We are in the middle of chapter 32. Start. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to our Tanya class. We're in the middle of chapter 32 of Tanya on page 145 in your bilingual edition. In the beginning of chapter 32, I explained last time, the Alter Rebbe begins to discuss a little bit off tangent based on what he discussed in 30 and 31, the basis for the mitzvah of Ahavat Yisrael, to love your fellow as yourself, and how that's possible. And he explained the fact that we're family. We're really family because we have a neshama, which all comes from the same source, which is just like brothers and sisters, which come from the same father and mother, we come in the origin, and they're sourced in the same place. But that can only happen if you recognize and realize that your neshama is, you give precedence and emphasis to your neshama rather than your physical, materialistic side of life, which is your body. Which means you have to, we should love every Jew. We talked about this extensively last week. Even someone you never saw, you'll never see him again. It's just a natural feeling that every Yid has for each other, which we see today. And, we're seeing this today in full view, based on because of what happened in Israel. Now, the Rebbe in the second half of the chapter is going to explain, to try to reconcile certain statements by the sages that seem to be saying, giving a message that is not in line with this idea of Ahavat Yisrael unconditionally. So we're going to talk about that now, okay? So I assume you remember what we discussed last week, and we'll go into the second half of the chapter now. As for the Talmudic statement, to the effect that one who sees his friend sinning should hate him and should tell his teacher to hate him. Also, this applies, this is a very strong statement in the Talmud. The Talmud says that if you see someone sinning, you should hate him. Now, most people today would say, what? I mean, why would you hate someone because he sins? And not only that, it says over there that you should tell your teacher to hate that person. So first of all, the Alter Rebbe says like this. On a practical level, this applies to a companion in Torah and precepts. Having already applied to him the injunction, thou shalt repeatedly rebuke thy friend. Amitecha, meaning him who is with thee in Torah and precepts, and who nevertheless has not repented in his sin, as stated in Sefer Charedim. What he's saying over here is like this. The first thing is, even if there's a room to say what the sages are talking about, first of all, is not your regular person. He's talking about a person who is at your level of observance. He had the same education as you. He learned the Torah. He's you. That's what he's saying over here. This applies to a companion in Torah and precepts. He's got the same level of education as you, and he's also has the same level of observance of mitzvahs as you. And then you see him violating a mitzvah. And after you already admonished him, you told him you're not allowed to do this, and you set him straight, and yet he ignores all your words and your admonitions and so on. So that's what the Gemara is talking about. Let's read it again. This applies to a companion in Torah and precepts, having already applied to him the injunction, thou shalt repeatedly rebuke the friend. Amitecha. What does amitecha mean? Meaning him who is with thee in Torah and precepts. He's at your level. He knows everything. And who nevertheless has not repented of a sin, that's stated in Sefer Charedim. So first of all, it's not talking about a person that's lower than you, that doesn't know. Such a person, you can never show any hatred to such a person. Someone that's on your level is what the sages are talking about. Alter Rebbe is going to qualify what even to such a person in a minute.
What does the word hatred mean in this?
Yeah, I don't like that. I mean,
okay.
I
don't know, what does the word hate mean? Let's try to define that word for a minute.
hate is too strong. I mean, I don't think I hate.
What does the word mean? Forget if it's too strong, too light. Just tell me what it means. What does hate
total
mean?
rejection of somebody.
Total rejection of somebody? I don't know if that's what it means. That's not the right. I don't know if that's a correct definition.
In here in the current world, the Western world we live in, hate is a level of disapproval that rises to the level of complete rejection. Bordering on.
Is there anyone you hate? Do we have hatred to anyone? Do you hate anyone?
I don't.
No, you don't hate anyone? You don't hate the people that did what they did a week and a half ago?
Well, I reject. Of course, I rejected, but I don't know what. I don't know exactly what.
Okay, so let's try to understand
So
what
the
that
question
word
is
means.
hatred.
I think you have to define
If you
the
hate
word.
someone, kill someone.
No,
It's
no,
something-
the hate
it's
does not
something-
mean you should kill someone. That's
but
not
hate-
what that
but-
means.
You despair that
when
person.
you violently
despise
hate
that
somebody,
person,
you're
yeah.
sacrificing in the Western view, you're sacrificing some of your own humanity.
No, in
But
hate.
if you have a kind of mindless, not mindless, but blinding hatred,
What does blinding hatred mean?
a level of hatred which makes it impossible for you to take anything like an objective view of the environment you're in.
I think you can only hate someone for honestly if you have an objective view of it. If you don't have an
Well, you're
objective
only
view, then you're
entitled-
not allowed to hate.
I think you're right.
If
You're
you're
only
subjective,
entitled to your
subjective
hatred
hatred
is
is
to be
no
objective
good.
about it.
Subjective hatred is
A
prohibited.
very a completely emotionally driven hatred.
Well, a hatred is
Can
an
leave you
emotion.
blind.
It's an emotion.
Right.
But why? How do you? Towards whom are you supposed to have such an emotion? Do you hate evil?
See, this is where another notion of what hatred is comes up. Let's just say that if I see a person who I should love engage in an act or take a position that I hate.
Forget about people right now. Forget about people.
Okay.
Do you hate the evil?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. What does it mean? You hate. What do you hate? Tell me what's the emotion? What kind of emotion is there?
Completely reject.
Dislike.
Dislike, and the despise. I
reject.
despise it.
Yes.
Right. I
But there can
despise it.
also, very often with hatred, there is an element of fear.
There could be.
And fear is, as they like to say, fear is the mind killer.
Okay, no, I'm not talking about fear. Fear is different than hate. You can say, why do you hate? Because you fear. I'm not talking about the reasons. I'm talking about what is hate? What is the emotion? It's you despise something. You reject. You don't want to have anything to do with that.
Correct.
With that thing. Is that always a bad thing? Is it sometimes good to hate?
It depends on what you do with it.
Forget about what you do. I'm talking about the emotion. I'm talking about the emotion.
I mean, if the emotion is going to affect you and you're going to do something inappropriate, it's bad.
I agree. You're doing something inappropriate.
Correct.
So let me give you an example. Let's give an example.
If it's something that is simple that I reject and I just don't want to know it and I stay away from it, it's good because you stay away from that.
So there's two things you're saying. First of all, which I agree with you. It's not good to be thinking all day about the things you hate.
Correct.
Because you just, that's not a good way to live.
Correct.
However, and you said, it depends. If you're doing something inappropriate as a result of the hate, it's also not good. I couldn't agree with you more. I think you're right about that. The question, what is inappropriate? Okay. So let's say, for example, something terrible happened in Israel last week, right? People went and butchered Jewish people, children, men, women, everyone. These people did it. There's people that did it. This doesn't happen. It happened by people with a philosophy, with an ideology and so on. Do you hate those people that did this deliberately, that went in and killed all these people? Yeah, I would say that most normal people, most good people would hate that. Would hate that. Should you think about the hatred you have to those Hamas people for 20 hours a day? No, you have to live your life. But there's nothing wrong with having a hatred towards that, to that behavior. Now, if you're an IDF commander, should the hatred get you to destroy these people?
Yeah, it's your job.
It's your job. Okay, so that's not inappropriate.
No.
So what would be inappropriate?
inappropriate. The things that I hate.
Okay, so forget what's it. So it's always not always bad to hate. It's not such a strong word. It's not terrible.
I try to
Sometimes
stay
it's
away
good.
from it.
Okay.
Why do you hate this murder? Why do you hate those people that did this?
Because they're evil.
What
I
makes
hate
them
it.
evil? What made them evil?
They did something totally unthinkable.
Well, you think it's unthinkable.
Yeah.
You think it's
Yeah.
unthinkable. So a lot of people think that it was very nice. You see all the people demonstrating in the
Yeah.
streets.
That's
They
why
love what
I
they
hate
did.
him
They
and
have
the-
a tremendous feeling for
That's
these
why
people.
I hate him and the other
Right.
people don't.
Right. So who's right?
Who's right?
Right. Are you right or the guy that's
I
demonstrating to
think I'm
support?
right. He thinks he's right.
You think you're right?
Because
No, I
there's
think I'm right.
confusion.
You know you're right. You don't think you're
But
right.
there's
You
a
know you're
level of
right. You have any
confusion.
doubt about this?
No.
No. Okay. So you're certain that you're right. Hold on. Let me finish my thought. Why do you so you hate them because what they did is utter evil?
Mhm.
What makes what they did utter evil? How do you know it's utter evil? What makes it utter evil? Well, yes, your own conscience tells you it's a disgusting thing to burn
It's a
people
sin.
alive.
It's a sin.
Oh, it's a sin. Okay, now we're talking. So you hate any sin, or you only hate this sin?
I hate
You walk right
certain
into
sins.
What?
I don't hate all the sins
You don't hate all the sins. So why this sin do you hate?
because
It's a
gonna-
bad sin.
Yeah.
It's a bad sin. What's not a bad sin? Rape
Right.
is a bad sin. Is rape a bad
No,
sin?
if somebody
One
not
second.
put in
If they
prison-
would rape them and not kill them, would it be
These
you
are
would hate them?
These are sins
I'm saying,
against
if
the
you would
person.
if they would rape these women and not kill them, would you still hate them?
Yes.
Yeah, because rape is a bad sin.
Yeah.
How about if they just banged them with a club on their head and they didn't? They walked away. They clubbed them on the head. They got a big bump in the head. They went to the hospital. The doctor put the bandage on them, and they went back home, and they're
Yeah.
fine. You still hate it. That's bad, very bad. Where does it become not so bad that you don't have to? What sin is not so bad?
It doesn't affect other people.
Why you on? Okay, let's talk about that.
For
That's a very
example,
interesting.
give an
That's an
example.
interesting thing. Okay, so you defined it. Okay, very
if
nice.
they don't eat kosher, for example.
No, one second.
Yeah.
So you're saying that when a sin is against another human being, that's a cause for hatred
Well, not always.
for the perpetrator of the hate of the
Yeah.
sin. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, let's go with that thought of it because this is very important. So, for example, if I went and stole a nickel from someone, I stole a nickel from someone else. That's a sin. It's against someone else. He's short a nickel now.
Yeah.
Do you hate that sin?
No.
Not as bad. Where does it? When do you start hating it?
When
How much
it really
money?
affects
How much money? What
No,
do you do?
it
How
really
much?
affects
Like
some-
$1?
No.
$100?
I don't know. I mean, you mean
I don't know.
money?
I'm asking. Yes, let's say money. Still,
Money-
when you
Money.
steal, Madoff, you hate, right? Madoff is bad. Yeah. Madoff is terrible,
Yeah.
right? Because he stole billions. He stole billions of dollars. What happens if someone steals millions? Still bad. Very bad. You still hate them. Hundreds of thousands. Where does that hatred go away?
But
Where
I
does
don't
it become?
hate Mayo.
Well, so you just told me that you hate evil that's
That
perpetrated
really
against people.
affects people, but the people that put money in Mayo, a lot of them knew that they had a risk.
No,
They-
they didn't know that they had
Of
this
course,
risk.
every
No,
time you
this was
do-
theft. This
No.
was straight out theft.
But there's risk. Or anytime you put money in these kind of investments, there's risk.
But he intentionally stole these
That's
people's
fine,
money.
But you,
That's not
you took a risk. I wouldn't give money to Mayo.
But
Because
one
there's a
second.
risk.
But yeah, this is a confusion here.
No,
No, yeah, I'll tell
I
you
don't.
why. It
I
is.
think it's inappropriate.
It's one thing if
think
I
that-
go
but I
to
don't hate
one
him for
second.
that.
If it's, no, you don't understand what he did. This was not a regular
I know
broker
it's
that
pretty
invested
bad,
your
but the
money.
people
He
that-
intentionally stole billions of dollars from people.
Yeah, but the people.
That's
the
an
ma-
intentional.
The majority of the people are going to survive. Nobody's going to be broke because of that.
Well, I don't know about that. I'm
If-
not sure
if
you're
they-
right about that.
And if they gave all their money to somebody,
Yeah.
they're stupid.
That could be true, but it
Yeah.
doesn't make him any less sinful.
No.
So, but
I'm
you,
not justifying what
but
he
you're
did.
telling me that
I don't
you-
hate him. That's it.
no, but you told me that you hate sins that are done that
really
perpetrated.
affects somebody.
He really affected. He
But in a
stole
way
billions of
that
people.
it's beyond.
So in other words, you're
recovery.
stopping short. You say it's only when it comes to rape, murder, and
Something
health.
really,
matter.
really
Yeah,
bad.
yeah, okay.
Okay.
So that's surprising to me because I don't know why. You'll talk to most people; they'll tell you they hated Madoff more than they hate Hamas.
Well, first of all,
Yeah, I'm not joking.
I don't give
Or
material things that much important. Period.
You
Life-
sure? You really? If someone
Yeah.
stole $1 million from you, you wouldn't give it importance?
I mean, if somebody hit me or killed
No,
me or
stole
whatever,
$1
or
million
killed
from
somebody,
you.
I wouldn't hate him as much if he did something to
I
my
didn't say
life.
as much. I didn't ask levels of hate. We didn't get into levels of hate. This is an important thing
No,
because
actually, you told me that.
no, I
You
agree
told
with you.
me
I agree with
that
you.
if somebody
I'm not-
steals from you, don't be upset to that person because that money didn't belong to you.
Okay, that's a
That-
separate issue. That's
Yeah,
a separate
that-
issue.
He's gonna have to
But
respond
he
to
sinned.
himself.
But he sinned.
But I don't hate him.
You just told me that when someone kills another person, you hate him.
Kills. It's different.
So you're making your.
I put
In
it-
other words,
I
so
put
you're
it
okay.
value
Fine. So you're
on
saying
the-
that
on the-
anything
on the-
short of murder and rape, you know, it's. I'm
Any-
sorry, but it's not. I don't have to hate it.
Yeah.
That's not an evil that I have to despise so much.
I don't despise him as much.
As much.
Yeah.
Okay, I agree with you. I'm not. I wasn't talking about degrees now, Ben. I'm not talking about degrees of how much.
Okay.
I'm talking about, is there a negative emotion of hatred
Honestly,
towards that sin?
I have hate.
It's an
for
important question.
I have hate for very few things.
I'm
I don't
asking you,
like
so
the-
I'm going through this with
Yeah, I
you.
don't. I'm like. Do you think people have stolen from me in the past?
I think probably.
Yeah. You think I
yeah.
have hate to them? No.
No, okay.
That's
No,
it.
I'm
I
not
just
saying. No,
move on.
I agree.
Please.
Depends.
Hate is a very bad feeling.
I agree with you. I
No,
agree.
no,
with you.
I-
But is it appropriate sometimes?
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah, okay. So I want to talk about sometime. When are those sometimes?
When it really
Affects another human being.
Yes.
Okay. Why does so you're putting human being to you the human affecting seriously another human being
Yes.
is a reason to hate to hate that sin.
hmm
What happens if I told you it really affected God?
You know my opinion about that.
I'm asking. No, I don't know your opinion.
Yeah,
Not
no,
My
100%.
opinion is that God can
Handle it.
handle it. Yes.
He could take care of himself.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
I will be minimizing his abilities. If I say God really got something, I mean,
So I'm
God-
going to tell you. I'm going to
Yeah.
cut you some slack. I fully understand your sentiment. It's a human natural sentiment to develop a rejection and negative feeling towards other people when they affect other human beings because we see that we can relate to it much more. I can know what that's. Imagine they did that to my family, so I can relate to the devastation that all these people are feeling and the harsh circumstances, the harsh consequences. But when you go a little deeper into this, why do you hate when someone else is affected? Why do you really hate it when someone else is affected? Oh, let me ask you this. Well, let's start with that. Why do you hate it when someone else is deeply affected? You don't even know those people. You don't know them. Let's say
But I can
you
put
heard. Let's say you
myself in
heard
their
today.
position. I can put
Let's say you
myself-
heard today that there were 4 people in Sydney, Australia, that was slaughtered by criminals.
No,
I'm asking-
my cousin in Israel sent me a
No,
picture
talking about.
of people that got slaughtered.
I'm not
by-
talking about that.
by Hamas
I'm not talking about that.
that I don't know.
But I'm
And
not talking about
really
that.
felt it.
Let me
Because
finish.
you're our brothers.
I'm asking you if you found out that 4 Scandinavians was murdered to death today in Scandinavia by a criminal, would you be devastated or you would
No.
have a negative feeling towards the criminal?
No, because I don't have any.
You don't know them. Exactly. Why? Because you have no connection. In other words, you don't even
the
hate
world
evil.
feels
That
about
means you
things.
don't hate evil. You only hate evil when it's done to people that you know or you have a connection to them. So you don't despise evil.
Sometimes yes. I mean,
So I'm asking you, I'm giving you an example of a major evil that was done against 4 Scandinavians, and you're telling me I don't know them, so I don't hate the
I
perpetrator.
mean, for example, what Putin is doing now.
Not Putin. I'm talking about. I gave you an example.
But I don't know anybody in Ukraine. But I don't.
Right.
I don't.
So
like,
why do you, the Scandinavians, you don't care about, and this one you do?
I don't know.
Because
I
there's
mean,
Jews in Ukraine, right?
could be.
Okay, so that's probably what it is. I'm thinking that. What could it be? I mean, these are human beings, and these are human beings.
You're right. You're
I
right.
despise evil. What's evil? What's the definition of evil?
Not good.
Loss of life, yes. Innocent lives being lost is very, very abhorrent to me. I can't look at such people. I want them all. I want them to be punished. I have a very big hatred to people like Hitler and people like Hamas and people like criminals that go around and kill people. I hate it. I hate them. I hate the concept. It really makes me sick. The question I ask myself is, what other evils do I hate? Do I hate other evils too? Do I hate rapists? You can say not as much as I hate murderers. Okay, I'll grant you that, even though some people say rape and murder is the same. But let's go and say that at least the person survived is alive. It's not as, I don't hate him as much. Fine. But you hate them. But that evil you do hate, maybe not as much. If you're going on the scale, I'm not, but there's a hatred towards that evil. Which evil is not, why? What makes rape evil? Because the other person doesn't want it done to them, right? Because it's a terrible violation of another person. So I went down the scale with you and I said, what about if he steals $1 million from them? You were already not so sure that I should hate that person because it's materialistic things. Mm-hmm. Something tells me that if someone went into your bank account today and you emptied you out with $1 million and left you penniless. I don't believe that. I'm not so sure about that. And you heard about this person.
Because I want to provide the principle we discussed.
No, I didn't say what's the principle.
Didn't belong to me. This guy's going to have to respond to
True.
Hashem.
True.
That money didn't belong to me.
True. Okay.
Yeah.
You have to be careful with the way you say that.
Aspect.
You have to be careful the way you say that. One second. I want to correct this. No. But I want to clarify that because you're making it, you're simplifying it to a point where I think it's already outside of what I meant. That money did belong to you. God gave it to you. It was yours. Why God took it, why God arranged that it should be taken away from you, that's God's business. You're right about that. But you can't say it didn't belong to you. Otherwise, that person wouldn't be a criminal.
No, God
of course it
wanted me to not have it now.
Right. Oh, so you don't hate that person. Okay.
No.
Do you hate the evil act that he did?
I mean, it's in a scale that it's not as bad as...
Not as bad, but it's bad. But it's pretty bad. And I didn't say it's as bad as killing. I agree with you on that. But yeah, you despise such behavior. Yeah. When people steal $1 million from innocent people, you despise it. I'm not talking about turning the page. That's possible.
What if you're going to use the $1 million to feed starving children and then the guy stole the money?
That's not the point. That's he has a point. He's right about what he's saying. However, you still despise that act.
Yeah,
it's a very important. We have to get here because otherwise you'll never understand this chapter. And if I went down to you, so you stole $1 million. How about $500,000? It's just as bad. Stealing is stealing, and a nickel also. You're right. The effect on the person is not as bad, but the act of stealing is a terrible thing. I hate stealing. I hate the act of stealing. It doesn't make a difference if it's $1 billion or if it's 10 cents. I hate the act of stealing. Do you hate the act of insulting another person? Even if you didn't lose anything.
I reject it, but it's not that I hate it.
I hate the act of insult. I hate evil. That's an evil thing to do, is to insult a person. So I hate evil. I hate all evil. All evil is not good. Mm-hmm. And I despise it. What else is evil?
Something. Not saying hello to somebody, it's insulting it?
No, not necessarily.
I think it's insulting.
It could be.
I don't
it could
hate
be.
That person.
It could be.
Yeah.
It could
I don't hate that person. That person could have...
I didn't say that person. I said the evil act.
The act. I just say the people probably was...
Okay, you're excusing them. Fine, that could work sometimes. I agree with you. But if it was intentional, I'm not going to say hello to you. I don't like it. I'm not going to...
I don't hate it.
I don't like it and hate it is the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. You despise that behavior. You despise this behavior. I also despise that behavior. I despise evil. That's my definition. Whatever is evil, I despise it. Now let's define evil. Okay? What is evil? Sin is evil. Any sin is evil. So I despise sinful behavior.
I think there has to be.
I despise sinful behavior.
But there has to be a level of education and...
That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying.
There has to be a level
That's
of
exactly what he's saying. I agree with you.
But I have a problem with this part.
One second. We're not finished. We're in the middle. We're in the middle.
Judging people.
Can I say?
No, I'm not judging people. I'm judging behavior. This is a bad behavior. Now, that's right. Now, Tereb is saying, if.
How do you know?
If you don't know, you can't. Then it doesn't apply. Then it doesn't apply. You're right.
To put yourself in the
then don't. Then you're right.
So why does it even mention it?
Because sometimes you could. I guess there are times you could.
No, never.
Why do you say?
You don't know what's in people's head. You don't know
No, we're
what
talking
they
about if you
do.
do know. We're talking about if you know the
It's very
person.
hard. Didn't we
I didn't say it's
study
not.
before?
I didn't say it's easy. I'm just
Didn't
saying.
we study before that said it's impossible to put yourself in the position of another person?
Right.
So
So you-
why is it right then and it's not right now?
No, because what he's saying over here, he's talking about a person that is exactly like you. You come from the same background. You come from the same knowledge.
There's
You come
no
from the same
exactly two
everything.
people.
So it's not exact. Okay, it's not exact. I agree with you. It's not exact.
I don't agree with this.
You don't
No.
agree with what?
I don't agree with the judging anybody.
So you're saying we shouldn't judge. But what about people? What?
I want to say something.
One second. Everyone in this time.
I don't agree. And to me, this is a contradiction of everything we learned before.
It's not. I'll explain to you why. That's a good. What you're asking now is a good question. But before we get to the question, you have to understand that what he's saying. Do we despise evil or not? You're saying we shouldn't despise evil because we never judge anyone. Judging and what he did is bad.
Yeah.
The Alter Rebbe said it before also. He's
But
not going to get
but
away
you
with
say
it.
you have to
He's
hate
not. He's a
somebody,
sinner.
But say you have to hate them. That's what-
So 1 second. He's saying, first of all, you should hate what he did. Let's read it further,
I
and
agree
then you'll
that you hate what they did.
let's read further. Avo me, but as for the person, I'm not. You'll come back to you in a minute. But as for the person who is not one's colleague and is not in intimate terms with him, he'll, the elder said, be of the disciples of Aaron, loving peace and pursuing peace, loving the creatures and drawing them near to the Torah. This means that even in the case of those who are removed from God's Torah and his service, and are therefore classified simply as creatures, one must attract them with strong cords of love. Perchance one might succeed in drawing them near to the Torah and divine service. Even if one fails, one has not forfeited the merit of the precept of neighborly love. So what he's saying of it is, number one, he says like this. The person that the Talmud is talking about defines only a person that is on the higher level of reality, of knowledge and observance. Anyone that's not, it doesn't apply, period. You have to love them to death and bring them in. Now, even with regard to those who are close to you, to him, and whom he has rebuked, yet they had not repented of their sins, when he is enjoined to hate them, there still remains the duty to love them also. And both are right. Hatred because of the wickedness in them, and love on account of the aspect of the hidden good in them, which is the divine spark in them, which animates their divine soul. So in other words, what he's saying over here is when someone does a sin, and he knows better, he shouldn't do it, he's doing it intentionally, he doesn't care. And you rebuked him, you told him, leave me alone, I don't care about God. So there's an element of evil in that person, as there is in all of us. Should we despise the element of evil in a person? The evil, yeah. We don't want evil. We don't like evil.
Not the person.
Oh, so he's saying, but there's also a side of good in that person. So there's two things over here. This person is a dichotomized being. So the bad within is terrible, and the good within is lovely. And that's what he's saying over here. So what's interesting is that the Alter Rebbe is saying that a person that is uninitiated, there's no part of him that you should hate. No part of him that he's no evil because it's not his fault. There's no evil in. I mean, what he's doing is not good, but he's uninitiated. He has no idea what he's doing. It's bad. Okay, it's bad that he doesn't know, but it's not the. So that's a person you have to show total love to. Such a person. He's saying a person that is completely knowledgeable, and even him, you try it as hard as you can to set him straight and pick him up and lift him up, and he just doesn't want to get up. And he's careless and so on. Even in that person, which you see is open bad, he's just careless and he despises, the bad in him is not good, but there's also the neshama within him, which is beautiful. So he's saying, could you handle both of these at the same time? Yes, we could. We despise the evil, even in our own children. When our children lie, we're upset at them. We hate the fact that they lie. But do you love them at the same time? Yeah, because they're my child. That's what he's saying you have to have over here too. If you can handle both of these emotions at the same time. A person that doesn't know better, there's no place for any kind of, don't have any negative feelings over there. Because what he's doing bad is not even bad because he doesn't know that it's bad. It may be bad at some level because in objective reality, it's bad what he's doing, but it's not him. He's not doing anything bad because he doesn't know anything. But a person that does know that he's doing bad, and yet he's doing it because he doesn't care, that of course you despise. What are you going to do? You don't despise when someone does something bad. You do. Doesn't mean you should hate that person entirely. You'll love the human within him. You love the neshama within him. You hate the klipa within him. Yeah. So the Alter Rebbe's definition of evil is klipa, as we know throughout Tanya. Klipa is bad. Klipa is bad. Evil is anything that is not godly, that's anti-godliness. That's bad, terrible. So a person that lives his whole life that way, he doesn't know better, no one taught him any better. What are you hating over there? There's nothing, in the contrary. Love him and bring him up and teach him. If you can't, you can't. It's not so mix out. But if someone that's he's up there, and you know, and he knows better, and still he's doing this terrible thing, you have to, over there, you can despise that evil. You can despise, why are you doing that? Why are you disconnected? Why are you doing that? So the problem that we have is that we don't see sinfulness as bad. We don't see sin as bad. We see sin against other people as bad, but not sin against God. Why? Like you're saying, don't worry, God can handle it. It's not the question of God can handle it. It has nothing to do with God.
No, we don't say it's not bad. It's bad.
It's bad, and if it's bad, I don't like it.
But you put it in the same level of.
I don't know.
As,
Objectively, they're both bad. So you want to say I would say that murder is worse than not davening with a minion. Yeah, I would say murder is worse than not davening with a minion. Without a doubt.
But from God's point of view, He hates all sins.
It's all bad.
Right.
Sin is sin.
And because He's
But
infinite, if He's infinite, for Him, murder and not davening with a minion, because the infinite, it creates distance from Hashem.
What creates distance from Hashem?
By sinning.
Sinning
creates
the opposite
distance
of
from
God,
Hashem.
right? Yeah.
Where mitzvahs bring you closer.
Yeah.
Thus, because God's distance for man, we're dealing in the infinite. God hates all sins, and while we might see the gradations in those sins, God might see them too, but the differences are infinitely small. So sin is bad. For God, He hates all sins.
Yeah.
You taught us this at some point.
What I explained was that when you're talking about God as the infinite being, when you're talking about infinity, there's no difference between anything. In this world, it's all equal. It's all the same. But God did He did show us certain in the Torah, the punishment for murder is obviously a lot more severe than the punishment for eating something that's not kosher, for example.
correct. You wanted to say something?
Yeah, what was your point?
Okay. What I think is, from my point of view, at least what I hate is people that they don't respect the Ten Commandments. So I put the Ten Commandments like, because Ten Commandments are 10 things that
Basic stuff.
basic that I hate everyone that not comply with the Ten Commandments.
That's not true.
I tell you my point of view.
Shabbos, you hate people that don't keep Shabbos?
You're right. That's a point.
You
yeah.
hate yourself?
Yeah, that's a point.
But in biblical
That's the
times,
point.
if you violated Shabbos,
But
and were
again,
public about it,
the other stuff.
But I'm asking
you
him.
could get stoned
No,
to death.
you're right. I know I don't hate people that don't respect Shabbos.
And you hate people that swear falsely?
Yes,
Really?
yes. Because I think when you do this, you are making a big bad to the other people.
When you swear falsely?
You deny justice.
Well, it depends who you when it's swearing falsely is not only in a court of law. It's anything. I
Right.
swear that I'm going to eat tomorrow bread, and I didn't eat the bread.
No. We're talking
that-
about false.
Well, no.
regarding
That's what the
other
Ten
person.
Commandments are. So you're always applying the Ten Commandments to other people. It's not always that true. It's not true. The Ten Commandments are objective Ten Commandments that have nothing to do with people. Some of them do, some of them don't. The sin against swearing falsely is not only as it relates to other people.
Okay, so
If I say I swear I didn't eat bread yesterday, and when in reality I did eat bread, I violated that third commandment. I violated one of the Ten
Right.
Commandments, even though it has nothing to do with another person.
Yeah, but
I swore
again-
about something benign that has nothing to do with anyone. No one cares if I eat bread or
this
not.
is where
That's called swearing falsely, yes.
But this is, you're talking about the first one, correct?
Third commandment, yeah.
This is, when you make Hashem in
Yeah, if you use Hashem's name,
Okay.
obviously, yeah.
If someone, is lying with Hashem names, I think it's really bad.
It is bad, I
It's really
agree,
bad.
but you're saying that you're pointing out. that you
I
have-
You hate that person.
I don't think I would never trust this kind of person.
I
When
wouldn't
someone
either.
can do that, I cannot
I don't.
trust
There's a lot of
you-
people I
do you
don't
hate
trust. I
that
don't hate them.
And then people begin with
I reject that person. I know if it's his hate is a word. but
I understand.
reject
Okay,
this
whatever.
kind of
Everyone has their
But again, at
cutting
least
point, you know.
I agree with you. But at least, the Ten Commandments and the ones that from my point of view, they're very strong. The other things like don't eat kosher or eat. Again, it's something that maybe it's not as bad as as the other ones. So, or for example, if you take the Torah, if you don't love like Avlerecha Kamocha, maybe this is the one that we can put. If you don't do this, if you don't comply with that, it's something you can hate. But you have to be in.
Here's what if you really want to get down to it, here's where it boils down. Do you love Hashem?
Yeah.
You do? Then you're going to hate everything that's anti-Hashem. They're two sides of the same coin. Do you love your wife?
Yeah,
You love your
man.
wife. You love your children. Anything that's a threat to my children, that goes against my children, I despise.
But not
That's
everything.
how it is. That's the flip side
No.
of love. It is.
The point is, if it's something that's not gonna affect that person significantly, I don't hate it. I just
What do you mean? If you love your wife, anything that affects your wife negatively,
yeah. Let's say somebody she was in a car accident and the guy hit her.
it's a mistake. It's an accident. I'm not
No.
talking about
Okay.
that. I'm talking about if you
Yeah.
love. The point is this: if you
I
love,
don't-
the flip side of love is hate. That's a fact. That's not a debate. The flip side of love is hate. The more you love someone, the more you're going to despise anything that threatens that.
But
That's
not-
the subject, the object
not
of your love.
anything. It's certain.
If
things.
it threatens that person, yeah, you're gonna hate.
Somebody steals her wallet, her
What?
purse. Somebody steals her purse.
I'm not. You're going into degrees again. I'm not talking about degrees.
The problem with this.
I'm not talking about
the problem with
degrees.
this conversation is a
Forget
large-
degrees a minute. One second.
the degrees become an.
I didn't ask how much.
Do you hate that person who gets killed in Australia? Who was murdered in Australia by the criminals? Do you hate those criminals?
Doesn't know them, so he doesn't
No,
hate
no.
them. Yeah. So
Would you
that's-
hate somebody who murdered
I
somebody
hate
in your
the
family?
fact that they did that.
Would you hate somebody who murdered somebody in your family?
Yeah, he
The
will.
point here is that what you're doing is you're building in a separation because you're concentrating on the people. And
I
on
think
the
this
act.
proves my point.
You
No,
get-
no,
no,
The
we're
more you
making your
love,
point.
the more you hate.
No.
Because the people in Australia he doesn't love, so
Right.
the opposite, the people that killed
But
him, he
it's
doesn't
not
hate
the-
as
it's-
much.
It's
But
not the
Rabbi,
act. It's
Rabbi.
not the act that anybody hates. It's the effect that anybody hates. And the closer the effect is to you, the more you're likely to hate.
No, it's not true. I think it's because the closer it is to you, the more you'll love that person.
Right.
And
Okay.
the more you love that person, anything that threatens that person, you're gonna hate more. It's the two sides of the same coin. Love and hate are two sides. You can't love if you don't hate. You can't hate if you don't love. You can't love or hate if you don't love. Why do you hate Hitler? Because you love Jews. You love humanity. If you didn't love humanity, you wouldn't care about Hitler. You wouldn't hate him. The animal lovers, they hate people that go hunting, right? I don't hate people that go hunting. Why don't I hate them? I don't like what they're doing. If they're hunting for no reason, that's not good. But I don't have this incredible love for animals as maybe I should have, but I'm saying I don't have love for animals as much as they have.
Maybe
And
that's
therefore,
what
the person that
happened
killed the lion is not my enemy as much.
Maybe
Okay?
you
It's-
answer my question.
Yeah.
I don't hate people that take away material things from me.
Yeah.
I don't love material things. Material
Okay.
things comes.
But if they took away your wife's material things, would you hate them?
I hate the fact that they did it, but if
Okay, so
my wife,
that's
if
it.
my wife is fine, I forget about it.
What happens if your wife is not fine? Okay, so that's you're just proving my point that the more you love, the more you're gonna
correct.
hate. Okay,
That's
fine.
what I'm trying to
Oh,
tell you. So
oh,
why I don't get I don't hate somebody stole from me because I
because
don't
you don't
need-
love your money as much.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, very good. But if you did love your money, you would
Yeah.
have a very big hatred
The
or
majority of people
love their money. Sure, and
All
that's
love
why
their
when
money.
this people steal it from them,
They
they
just
don't like
earn
them,
it, and that's
which is
it.
okay. I'm not judging them. I'm
But
not
the
judging
other
you. I'm
thing
not
that we're
judging
not
them.
discussing-
But here's where I'm going with this. If you love Hashem, you're gonna despise that which is opposite of Hashem.
But not everything.
Everything. Why not everything?
I don't despise somebody that-
Because you don't love him as much. You don't love Hashem as much as your love for
I
Hashem
don't
is more
despise
limited.
somebody that doesn't shake the lulav on Sukkot.
I didn't say you should despise anyone. I'm not talking about you despising people. What I'm
I
trying to say
despise
is,
the fact
hold
that
on,
he
hold on,
didn't do it.
hold on. I agree with you because he's not doing anything intentionally. He's not doing anything intentionally. But if someone got up and said, I hate God and therefore I'm not going to shake a lulav, and you love Hashem, you're not going to like that. You're going to have a certain, you're going to despise that behavior.
What is the appropriate
The more you
response?
love, there's no response. That Al Tareb is saying, in other words, even a person that, what's your response to your hatred for Hamas? I'm going to an extreme now. Is there anything you do about it? No, it's in your heart.
I'm
That's it.
thinking about it.
You're thinking about it. It's in your heart. There's nothing you
Well,
can
there's
do.
people
No, I'm
are
thinking
going
about
You
there-
can give
I'm thinking
money.
about what
No,
can be
but
done.
there's people going there to fight.
Yeah, but I'm saying you and me.
You heard about the rabbi in Parkland, is it? The Chabad rabbi.
Yeah,
He went there.
I know.
You know?
Yeah.
He has a different reaction.
No, that's very good. Now, what I'm trying to say is, the more you love Hashem, the more you're going to despise that which is anti-Hashem. That's just the way it is. Just like when you love humans, and most people love other human beings, that's just normal people love other human beings. And therefore, when you see atrocities happening to other human beings, you hate it. The question is, do we love Hashem at that level? No, we don't, probably. Not because we're bad. It's not our fault. We live in the physical world. Other human beings we relate to them. So we can feel disgusted when other people are tortured. I don't know what it means to torture God. I don't know what it means to torture God. Like he's saying, I don't think God gets tortured when someone doesn't do something that he wants him to do, because God is bigger than that. I don't agree with you. I think God is not bigger than that.
No?
No. If God said, I want this, then he wants it. He's not bigger. I mean,
but-
what you're saying is he doesn't really want it.
No. It's
So
not
if
that
he really
doesn't
wants
want
it,
I
what?
think he can manage it. It's not that he's going to be.
What does it
affected.
mean?
He's not going to be affected.
Why do you say that? If I want if Hashem
Because
wants it,
his-
because what?
His power is infinite.
So his will is not infinite.
His will is infinite.
So
but
if he-
he
and
doesn't
you-
get something, he can manage it. He has other things to compensate.
No,
Yeah.
That's not how it
no.
works.
God is infinite.
That's not how it works.
I mean,
Yeah.
look, this last year we had Israel tearing itself apart. Did God hate that?
I think so. Yeah.
Let me
Was he-
ask you
or was he
something. You know what?
disappointed?
Let me
Or was
ask
he
you something.
disappointed?
I'll ask you a question. This is a good question. Do you think God gets bent out of shape when Hamas kills 1,500 Jews?
I think he gets affected.
Very much
But
affected.
if I don't check the lulav,
He doesn't
I
get
don't
as
think-
affected.
no.
So you're putting God on your terms. You just reduce God to human terms. You
To
made him
non-
into
to
human. You made him
non-human
into a
terms.
human. You made him into a human. That's not a good thing. We shouldn't do that.
No. What you're saying is that he gets affected by me not checking the lulav.
He gets affected by
As-
any time
as
you
much-
break his will.
as much as what's going on.
I didn't
in
say
the-
as much. I don't know as much. I think that at some
I'm
level.
not saying he doesn't get affected.
So if he gets
He said,
affected,
somebody hit me here, I'm gonna go be okay.
right?
If somebody,
I don't think when
He
you
hits
when you
me
violate
hard, it's
Hashem's
different.
will, it's a small tap on the finger. I don't think it is. I think it's more than that.
I don't
In
think-
fact, I think it's just as bad as the worst sin you can think of from
Well,
certain level.
and I would defer.
No, we don't. I'll tell you why. Because if it's all infinite, if his will is infinite, then his will is infinite that you should shake a lulav. His will is infinite that you should eat matzah. His will is infinite that you should treat another human being with respect. His will is infinite that you should not rape someone. His will is infinite that you shouldn't kill someone. It's all infinite will. When you're talking the world of infinite, where there's no limit, there's no limit. So when you break that will, you broke an infinite will. You broke a limitless will. It has
If you say
limitless.
that, if you say that, you're stuck with the fact that everything is God's creation,
I agree.
and thus even the sinning is God's creation,
I said that.
right? Which He gives up. And so when
And
you
he
say
said,
this-
I don't want that. He says the
but
ability to will,
but it's
the
still His
ability for
creation.
sin is
So-
the ability to sin is his creation. The sin itself is against his will. That's the one thing is not supposed to happen.
What?
Sin. He gives you the ability to sin, but he doesn't make you sin. And therefore, when you sin, he's infinitely affected. He's infinitely affected. So if you love Hashem very, very much, you really love him. And the love is real. So the more you love something, the more you're going to despise that which is anti that subject of your love, the object of your love. Just like it is with your wife and children. The more you love them, the more you're going to despise people that are against them. The same thing with Hashem. The more you love Hashem, the more you're going to despise that which is opposite Hashem. But what happens if you have someone he's not mentally stable? And a mentally imbalanced person comes in and embarrasses your wife. You're going to hate that person? Of course not.
No.
It's not his fault. He doesn't have the wherewithal. Someone that doesn't know that the Shabbos is a mitzvah, and he violates Shabbos, you're gonna despise it. You're gonna despise that person? Of course not.
Let me ask you something.
But what are you despising of it? He doesn't know. There's
Talking
nothing.
about this.
Yeah.
A kid that from his birth he's been taught to hate Jews. That's the only thing he knows.
Right.
Palestinian people.
Right.
That guy, when he grows up,
Yeah.
he's liable for his actions if he doesn't know any better.
Sure, he's liable. Everyone knows you're not allowed to kill.
Well, they didn't teach him.
I don't care. It doesn't make a difference to me if he's lying. He needs to be eliminated. So we have to protect
No,
him
I'm
against
thinking
killing.
just out of
So
curiosity.
it's
like
not a
you said.
question. So you asked me a theoretical question right now. It's totally theoretical.
No. The people that grow up in Palestine
Yeah.
are taught that this is the right thing to do.
Right.
He doesn't know anything
Right,
different.
right.
Is he to blame for what he does?
Two answers to that question. And so you're saying he went out and killed someone?
Yeah. And he
So
doesn't
what's your
know any
question?
better.
Should we punish him for that? You're asking if we should punish him? What's the question exactly? I'm not sure what the question is. Should we punish him?
No. The question came to mind when you said somebody doesn't know any better.
Right, I'm asking. So
Yeah.
is your question, should we punish him?
It's a good question. I don't know the answer.
You don't know the answer?
I mean,
Yes, you do punish.
Of course you have to
No
punish
doubt.
him. You have to
No
eliminate
doubt.
him. What's the question? He's a threat
No
to
doubt.
society. You have to eliminate the threat to
Because he is.
society.
but
It doesn't make a difference what he knows or doesn't. If he's potentially killing and he actually killed, he needs to be eliminated. It's just simple, basic decency. Now your question is, when he goes to heaven, should Hashem punish him? I'll leave that between him and Hashem. It's none of my business. I don't care what Hadash said. That's already a separate issue. That's not my world.
it's
That's
not
not,
Hashem, it's Muhammad.
no, it is Hashem. Muhammad it is Hashem that these people will face God one day.
Yeah. Even
Sure.
the goyim.
Bad behavior, I would think so, yeah. And that's already up to the Hashem what to do with them in the afterlife. In this world, we have to eliminate a person who's a killer. That's the question. It's not a question. Either you put him in jail or you eliminate him. You do what you have to get him off the street. I thought your question was a different question. Should we kill him even before he went and killed someone?
No.
That's
My
the
question came to mind.
No,
when you
the
said,
answer is you
if
don't kill him
somebody's
before he
sick
did
and does
something.
something because he doesn't know any better. Should I hate that person or punish that person or whatever if he doesn't know any better?
If he doesn't know any better and he's killing, I think most people know better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people know that killing is bad. Everyone knows killing is bad.
How do you call a guy that kills and doesn't get affected?
There is a name. You're right.
It's pathological.
No, has a name.
So, name, whatever. We're in the middle of it here. Let's not get carried away. The point is, the more you love Hashem, the more you despise things that are against Hashem. Okay, so that's the question of this. So here you have a person who's despising, that he's against Hashem and he's behaving in a way that is so anti-godliness. What should be our reaction to such a person? So the Alter Rebbe says, if he doesn't know better, there's no question about it. You don't despise him. If he knows better, right, I understand. If he knows better, we're not talking about killers. We're talking about people that people that kill, you have to get them off the street. You have to get, because in other words, it's protection for society. Forget about them, But if someone that's not a killer, he's just a sinner. So should we despise people that sin, even though we love Hashem and he hates sin? The answer is, if they don't know better, absolutely you shouldn't despise them. If they know better, one second, let me finish. If they know better, so then, if they have a side, so the part of them that's absolutely no good, of course you should not have a good feeling towards that. But the side of them that's good, which every person has a good side, certainly a Yid has a neshama, there's so much to love over there. So while they're despising the not good, you should love the good too. And then he finishes off with one last point. Even with regard to those who are close to him and whom he has rebuked, yet they have not repented of their sins, when he is enjoined to hate them, there still remains the duty to love them also, and both are right, hatred because of the wickedness in them, and love on account of the aspect of the hidden good in them, which is the divine spark in them, which animates the divine soul. He should also awaken pity, even such a person, you should awaken pity in his heart for the divine soul, for she is held captive, as it were, in such a person, in the evil of the Sitra Achra, of the Klippa that triumphs over her and the wicked people. Compassion destroys hatred and awakens love, as it is known from the interpretation of the text, to the house of Jacob who redeemed Abraham. Alter Rebbe is saying like this. Such interesting stuff here. Every line here is brilliant, is gold. What's going to happen so here you have a person. Let's take a person that is a sinner, terrible sinner. He knows that he shouldn't sin. He's educated. He knows it all. I'm not talking about murder. I'm talking about sinner, of religious sins. And he's just despised. He just laughs the whole thing off. He doesn't care, and he knows. And he was in your grade. He was in your class. You went to the school, to rabbinical school. You went through the whole system with him, and he dropped it all and doesn't care. And you rebuked him. You said, "Come on, you're a Jew." Yeah, and he said, "Leave me alone." I don't know. So there's two sides to that person. There's the negative, the not good, the evil within him, that we despise. The good within him, we love. And then he says, and what's the good within him is his neshama. Now, this person's neshama is totally in exile. It doesn't find expression. The neshama wants to connect to Hashem, and it doesn't let. The bad overpowers that, right, within this person. So what do? So you don't like the bad, you love the good, and then you have to have compassion on the good, which is in exile. What happens when a person is consciously compassionate about that person's neshama? Look at the words of the Alter Rebbe. Compassion destroys the hatred and awakens love. So what's going to happen over here is you're going to be focused on your love. So you're not going to be focused on the hatred to that negative person, and you're going to awaken love to that person. Maybe you'll even awaken him, and that would be the greatest result, right? As is known from the interpretation of the text. There's a pasuk. Where is this again? In Isaiah. To the house of Jacob who redeemed Abraham. What is the house of Jacob redeemed Abraham? What's Abraham? Abraham is love. Jacob is compassion. Compassion redeems the love. So what happens? When you have compassion on that person, you wake up the love within that person. When you have compassion on a Yid that's lost, his soul is lost in his klipa of his negative, right? And you have that wakens up the love within that person that he has to Hashem, and it can change the person. So the more compassion you have on that person, it's going to wake up that person's love. It'll turn him around. That's the ultimate goal over here.
That's the reason why Chabad
right,
reject
exactly
people that are not
right. Not at all. First of all, today's generation, no one is in the category that Alter Rebbe is talking about. They're all people that grew up with very little
I know,
observance.
but everybody knows in this shul what is Shabbos.
They know, but they don't.
They know, everybody knows.
They know it as a theoretical thing. They never read. They didn't grow up with
But
Shabbos.
they know what they don't have
They
to
know what they don't know. What I do. They know what I know. Well, they don't know Shabbos as a way of life.
They know it's a mitzvah.
They know it's a mitzvah, but they was never brought up with it. That's not called real knowledge. I know it's a good thing to do Shabbos, but my
The
father
thing I
didn't
don't
teach
know
it to
what
me.
Shabbos is,
You do, but you never. But if you didn't
I
grow
didn't
up,
grow
in,
up with it.
okay, so that's not called. That's theoretical knowledge. I'm talking about real knowledge. That means a person that kept Shabbos for 30 years, and then one day he says, "I don't care about Shabbos. I'm dropping it all." And you work with him. You say, "Hey, why? What happened?" So obviously, there's something going on in him. Today's days, even that I wouldn't. I would show that person only love. Today's a different generation, a crazy world we live in. This is not a normal world. There's no room for any hatred for any person that's sinning religious sins. None at all.
Why not?
Because we're living in times that are not normal. Someone once asked, the Rebbe says, doesn't it say that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree?
Yeah.
And he was telling the Rebbe, so many kids today are leaving the path of their parents completely. What's going on?
You mean Orthodox?
Whatever, yeah, people, no, in general, just even the secular, they reject their parents, and when the hippies, whatever it was. So the Rebbe said that's true if there's a regular wind. But if there's a strong wind, the apple can fall very far, can be blown very far from the tree. We're living in the time of a hurricane, spiritually speaking. There's so much going on out there. It's not like it was 100 and 200 years ago. It's a normal world 200 years ago. The information wasn't so crazy. Today, if a Jew leaves Torah and mitzvah, you could be brought up and he just rejected it all. There's something going on in him. It's not, you can't even blame him. So today, I don't put there's no judging nothing. Even a person that is on the same level as me, I would never judge anyone. In other words, I don't attribute his dropping of Judaism because he has because he despises God. Something else going on. It's a different world today. 100, 200 years ago, it'd be different. But today, not. There's one last category of people that the Alter Rebbe says this does apply to. And that's the end of this chapter. As for King David, peace upon him, unto him, who said, I hate them with a consummate hatred. He said this about certain people, Jewish people. He was referring to Jewish heretics and atheists who have no portion in the God of Israel, as stated in the Talmud tractate Shabbat, beginning of chapter 16. There was a group of people that put every bit of, for example, you had in the communist Russia, you had the Jewish communists, right? You have a section, they were called in Russia. The Jewish section of the Communist Party. They were the biggest haters of Jews, of religious Jews. They hated religion. They did everything they can. They killed Jews that were religious.
Jews.
Yeah, Jews against Jews. This was true at the time of the Greeks. There's all throughout history we had such people. King David said about them, I hate them. These are people I hate. Because their whole raison d'etre is to destroy godliness in this world. He said, I can't deal with such people. I have a consummate hatred to them. Now that's already a different category of people that existed at certain intervals of our Jewish history. Whether they exist today, I'm not sure. You could say yeah, you could say no, but it's not certainly not a movement. There's no movement today like that. So today there's no room for that. But there was. He says it in the brackets. He ends off the chapter that way to say there is people that are their whole existence is to fight godliness, to fight morality, to fight goodness. These are people you have to, that is a person that loves goodness and loves morality is going to reject such people. I'll tell you the honest truth, when I see people marching in the street today with Hamas flags, they don't kill people. These are not people that themselves are going around and killing people. I despise it. I really despise them. I do, because I think they're so.
I despise him too.
I despise them because they're. So I don't know if they fit into this what Al Tareb is saying over here, but the point is there are certain people that they're really they're anti-good. They're anti-good.
The kids from Harvard.
Whoever, yeah, they're all over. They're anti-good, and the more you love good, the more you're going to despise that. That's what Al Tareb is saying of it. It's basically. But he's making it very clear that for 99.9% of the people doesn't apply at all. Even to that 1% of 1% that you could say they know better, and so they also, you love their good side. There is an element of society that their whole raison d'etre is to undo godliness. They fight Judaism and religion and God wherever they can. That's a big problem. That's a big problem. Do I wallow in that despising them? No, I don't think about them.
Okay, I wanna.
But if they
talk
start
about,
harming,
tell me one thing.
Iran, for example.
There's a lot of things
Iran
going
is
on.
worse. They kill people. They're a terrorist.
A lot of things, like you said, we're living in turbulent times.
Yeah.
Is that part of the Mashiach coming?
What? We live in what?
Turbulent time, difficult time.
I think so. I have not yet. I
no,
really
so where
think
is it written? What's written about that?
that will Mashiach, the signs of Mashiach.
Yes.
The Talmud talks about the signs of Mashiach.
What I mean, this chaos is happening.
What?
Is this what's going on in the world? Wars?
I think so. I
and
think
people
so.
getting away from religion.
The leadership is like dogs. It says that the one of the signs of Mashiach is going to come. The leaders are going to be like dogs.
What do you mean by dogs?
Like what happens to a dog? The dog runs ahead of his master and then looks back, right? That's what a dog does. That's what the leaders do. They look back to the people they're leading. What do you say? Oh, this is what I have to lead you and do? Okay. They don't lead.
Biden, exactly.
Whoever. I'm just saying it's not a, believe me, it's not only.
That's a sign?
That's one of the signs. The leader, total, bankrupt leadership. It's complete bankrupt.
So
leadership.
it's a sign that the Mashiach comes.
I think the signs are there. Yeah, the Rebbe said that Mashiach is coming.
No, it's
taking much too long.
It's supposed to be 6 millennium.
It's not just.
But that's to the end.
Huh?
It's a whole different.
Without Torah, without standards.
Right.
Without
The problem
standards.
is the standards
There's
today.
no morals.
The
there's no
good
standards.
people don't have good. The problem is that there's no good and bad anymore. In the times of the Nazis, there was much more bad than we have today. But there were good. But you knew the distinction between good and evil. Today you don't. In America today, you don't know who's right. This lady that called me today to have a sit down with an imam tells me that most people in America don't know who to support. They don't know what's right and what's wrong. That's what she told me. We don't know who's right over here. They're totally ignorant.
Let me tell you what's
They're
gonna
not
happen.
sure if killing 1,500 Jews in their beds are bad. They don't know.
And by the time you
It's a
leave-
crazy
and by the time you
world
leave
we're
the
living
room,
in.
It'll be bombing innocent people in Gaza is bad.
No, it
raping
isn't.
and cutting
Well,
off the heads of kids
bombing
is bad.
innocent
It's all
people.
bad.
Well,
That's what you're going to get.
I
You be
know.
very careful.
I
That's
know
what's
that.
gonna
You
happen
have to make the distinction. I don't think she wants to talk about that anyway, but that's not the point.
Where you going to end up?
But if it will be there, I'll be very clear about it. What do you think? I'm going to let her get away with that?
No, but I'm saying it's going to get ugly, and it's going to get ugly. So just be aware of that.
It could and it could not. She's looking for it not to get ugly.
Well,
Who is she?
A reporter from CBS.
yeah, you think she's neutral,
I don't know her.
or do you
I
think she's a creature of her environment?
have no idea. I have no clue.
Find out who she is. Be very careful.
I'm not worried.
Okay.
I'm not worried.
If you're not worried, then be prepared to be edited.
Why you not?
It is going to
worried?
be edited. I asked her about
Why
that.
you not?
Said the
worried?
whole thing is going to stream on our channel, but on television it's going to be only 2 minutes.
They interview you?
They're going to tomorrow.
You're gonna
Yeah,
talk
by the
about
time
what?
you're done, it's going to be kumbaya.
You're gonna talk about what?
About
situation?
the situation. Anyway, I think I'm still live. I'm sorry. Let me shut this down. Take care. Anyway, we're going on too long. Have a good day, everyone. Be well. Good night.
See, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want